Hey Gran Turismo 7 fans, today we are going to be breaking down the differences in the graphics between Gran Turismo Sport and Gran Turismo 7. This is an exciting time. I can't wait until Gran Turismo 7. First, I just want to say that the footage that I'm using for today's video that I am cutting up is from Moto Games TV, so if you want to see the version of this video that I'm cutting down without my ugly voice over top of it, go check out that guy's channel. It's pretty good. Anyways, let's get down. Let's check out the differences. So like I was mentioning, make sure to check out Moto Games TV. He didn't do an exact cut like mine. He just put them side by side, but it is still great. So of course, these are not the same tracks. However, what are we seeing here? What are some of the differences that we are seeing on these cars and on the sides of the track against each other? Well, let's break it down. So, what are we seeing here? What are some of the things that we are seeing? So, over here, what we're looking at over on this side, and we're also looking at the trees on this side. What are some of the things that we are seeing? Now, of course, this is a mountain. Those are trees. I'm not denying that. But the shadows. So one of the things with PlayStation 5 is the ability for the light and the way it's able to travel. So they call this ray tracing. So what we are seeing, obviously it's a bit clearer. However, what we are seeing is in the shadows of the trees, we are seeing individual leaves. If you really want to focus, I know this is not a 4K or 8K video, but you can see that the difference in the light in the leaves that we see, and even in the rock formations right there, is quite amazing. Versus over here, where we just have standard shadows along the dark side of the tree. So what we are seeing is the ability for the ray tracing of the PlayStation 5 to be able to be showing the shadows like if it was real life. So another thing that we are seeing, if we look at the steering wheels, check out the light on the steering wheels. So what we're seeing here on this side, the Gran Turismo Sport side, is the shadows on the interior are not changing. However, the shadows on the steering wheel on the right side, which is Gran Turismo 7, the shadows are changing. Now, what the original poster of this video says is it's a brighter cockpit in Gran Turismo 7. That's not a lie. It is a brighter cockpit, but that's because of the shadows and the ray tracing. However, the gloves are a little bit more realistic as well. And what I mean by that is watch the shadows on the gloves, this side versus that side. As we can see, the shadows are a little bit more realistic. We're seeing a slight dimming of the gloves and brightening of the gloves, while on this side, they are pretty well set, and until that car changes, those gloves are not going to be changing at all. These gloves, if you really look closely when you're playing Gran Turismo Sport, there's really only 5 or 6 shades that they turn, while with these gloves, because of the ray tracing, there's hundreds of different shades, and if you watch this throughout the rest of the video, you will notice that. So here we're going through a tunnel, and watch the gloves on the left side versus the right side. So on the right side, we can see how the shadows will actually move across the gloves, just like it would in real life. While on the gloves on this side, because of the ray tracing, all you see is just flash, 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 because it's trying to imitate the light and the shadow, light and shadow, light and shadow, all the way down. As we can see here, which is another difference as well, is the walls. So in real life, you're not going to be seeing just a ray of light coming from the lights. You're going to be seeing more broader types of shadows. It's not going to be as drastic as it is in Gran Turismo Sport. So because of that, Gran Turismo 7 is going to seem a lot more realistic to most sim racers, at least when it comes to the brightness. And we're actually noticing that on the cars in front of us as well. So that's another thing, is because of the ray tracing, you're actually seeing the lights in that guy's back bumper being reflected on the car. Meanwhile, if we look at the car over here, even though it's a bit farther ahead, we're not seeing any of those lights reflecting on it. All we're seeing is a shadow. So this is another cool thing about ray tracing. We're going to be able to get realistic light reflections in our games. So as we can see right now, taking away this dock that we have, which is essentially the same thing, taking that away, everything on the outside of the game, outside of your car and inside of your car, is going to be a lot more realistic. So another thing with ray tracing is the ability for the light to then reflect off of the car itself. So because of that, we're able to see different plants and foliage being reflected off the paint, while on this side, all we're getting is just a regular reflection of just light. So another thing that stood out to me as well when it came to the racetracks themselves is the foliage along the outside of the track. So of course, Gran Turismo 7 is possibly going to have a higher resolution. However, I wouldn't be really focusing in on that. It's going to be the ability for the PlayStation 5 to be able to render and show so much more, so that the developers of the games can actually produce more foliage on the outside of the track or along the side of the track to make it more realistic. So of course, again, these are two different tracks. Again, however, check out the foliage on this side versus this side. These on the right side seem a heck of a lot more realistic. You can see individual leaves on this side, versus on this side, all you're seeing is just a basic tree, and that's it. Now, I'm not too sure if the signs are going to be like this on other tracks. However, you can actually see a difference in the signs. These signs don't light up, while the ones in Gran Turismo 7 do. But again, that could just be the track, so I'm not going to be really breaking that down. Now, one that the person who recorded this video mentions, or at least says up here, is the brake lights. Watch the brake lights. So on both cars, the left side, they just merely light up. What? While on this right side, it actually seems like you can see the actual rays of light. You know how in real life, how you can see that, yes, there is a light behind the light bulb kind of idea? You actually see that in this game. So another thing I would like to point out is on this side, on the right side, you actually see shadows of trees on the ground. While on the left side, the Gran Turismo Sport side, you don't see any reflection of the actual trees themselves, and this is a very tree-filled course. Now, of course, we do have a couple of shadows of trees here. However, they are not like the same sort of shadows. It's just almost like it's a block of shadows, and that's it. While on Gran Turismo 7, we'll back up just a bit, and we'll actually see in the reflection an actual individual tree and even leaves on that reflection. If you look really closely, you can see the actual individual leaves right there. Or maybe that's just my mind going crazy, but that's just what I see anyways. So we don't know anything about how the gameplay is, how the simulation computer cars are going to be racing, or how the track is going to be like when we're racing with a steering wheel or anything like that. All we have right now is the differences on how the game looks. I hope this video has been enjoyable to you. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Remember, this is a pre-production video of a game that's coming out hopefully by the end of the year. That would be fantastic. Anyways, hit that like button, subscribe, go check out some of my other videos on Gran Turismo 7. I'm excited, and I'll see you guys again in our next video.